Hi, everybody. My name is Corey Eldredge. I am a doctoral candidate in educational leadership at Carson Newman University. My research will focus on educators' perceptions of childhood trauma and their impact on teaching practices. The purpose of this research is to examine educators' perspectives towards childhood trauma and how educators even address trauma within their classrooms. By examining these perspectives and teaching practices, it will contribute to an increasing body of knowledge addressing trauma informed teaching practices. There were two major findings of the literature review. First, the Kaiser Permanente Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACEs, study reported a powerful link between childhood emotional trauma and adult risk behaviors, biomedical disease, and leading causes of death. This illustrates the need for an integrative conceptual framework to address ACEs as an underlying syndrome. Secondly, trauma and traumatic stress reactions can disrupt the educational processes related to teaching and learning, not only for the child who experiences the event, but also for their peers, teachers, and the staff who make up the school community. This research has two qualitative questions. First, what are educators' perceptions of childhood trauma? In other words, what events do educators deem traumatic for children? Secondly, how do those perceptions affect those teachers' classroom teaching practices? This research is based on three theoretical frameworks. First, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This states that the most basic need is for physical survival, and this will be the first thing that motivates behavior. This theory also states that needs at a higher level cannot even be addressed until those most basic needs are satisfied. The second is the theory of teacher self efficacy. This is teachers' beliefs in their ability to influence students' outcomes. Finally, trauma theory. This is the understanding of how trauma can impact learning and behavior. This research will take a qualitative research approach. I will conduct a phenomenological study. Phenomenological research helps us understand what it is like to experience a specific situation or life event. By describing the stories of educators' perceptions of childhood trauma and how those perceptions affect classroom practices, this study will result in accurate findings. The participants in the study will include intermediate grades, 4 through 6 teachers with varying years of experience, specializing in various subjects from Sevierville Intermediate School in Sevierville, Tennessee. There will be three forms of qualitative data collected. Initially, I will conduct a survey of between 40 to 50 educators. Secondly, 5 to 8 survey respondents will participate in individual structured interviews. Finally, I will select 5 to 8 interview participants to participate in a focus group. Data analysis. First, all data will be open coded. Data will be segmented into meaningful expressions and described in single word to short sequences of words. Next, I will take that data from open coding and aggregate it into discrete parts. I will draw connections between codes from the open coding results. Finally, data will be reduced to core categories, systematically relating it to other categories, validating those relationships, and filling in categories that need further refinement and development. I will color code the survey data, and then for the data and from the interviews and focus groups, transcriptions of interviews and focus groups will be by audio recording and then by computer program. Qualitative trustworthiness techniques. For credibility and internal validity, I will have triangulation. That's the three sources of data: surveys, interviews, and focus groups. There will also be member checking. Participants will review transcriptions of interviews to ensure their agreement and approval of their comments. For transferability or external validity, there will be sufficiently thick description of context. This will ensure that the study's findings could be applicable to other contexts, situations, times, and populations. For dependability and reliability, there will be an audit trail. All of the notes, audio recordings, and transcriptions will be kept. There will be a peer debriefer. Dr. Jennifer Jackson, the instructional coach at Sevierville Intermediate, will serve as the peer debriefer. For confirmability and objectivity, I've already addressed triangulation and a peer debriefer. In addition, I will search for disconfirming evidence or negative cases and keep a reflexive journal. Ethical considerations. After IRB approval, written informed consent will be obtained from teachers. This form will include the purpose and procedures of the study, its risks and benefits, and the obligations of the participants and the researcher. My techniques for protecting the participants. In each form of data collection, in the reporting, in data storage, and in peer debriefing, names or identifying information will not be used. Teachers will be identified as T1, T2, T3, and so on. Thank you. And I'm interested to see what questions you have about my research.